Hi, I'm Mary O'Brien, Director of Community Education for the Hastings Public Schools, and welcome to the August edition of Unity Through Community. Now, our building, Tilden Community Center, is just a buzz with activity. Everybody's starting to, wander back in, getting ready for the start of school. So I'm sure all of you and your families are as well. Something that's always very exciting that we've been working on all summer is our fall-winter community ed catalog, which will be hitting your mailboxes on or about August 22nd. You can also go online right now at www.hastingscommunityed.com. And you can look at our catalog. You can register for classes. We're going live on Monday, August 18th, I think it is. So be ready. We're all set for you. One thing that's having a little bit of a change this year is our walk program, only from the perspective of if you walk at the high school during school hours, which is 6:30 to 2:30. If you do that, the high school is instituting the Raptor technology system, which is a scan of everybody who comes into the building. And so you will need to get a permanent badge that you'll wear while you're walking. This is only if you're walking during school hours. If you walk after school, you walk on Saturdays, you don't have to worry about that. You still have to buy your walk button. Everybody still has to buy their walk button. It'll be $15. We'll be selling those after the 22nd of August at Tilden. And when you come in, our staff will ask you, do you think you're going to walk during the day at all? And if you are, we'll just issue you a badge, no cost, easy, one time, you're set. So, but that's just a little different change this year. And don't let that stop you if you, sometime, in the first couple weeks, you can't get into Tilden right away. We are going to be open the first 3 Mondays in September. We're going to be open in the evening, so you can come in and get your badge then. So just something a little bit different to know about. It'll be in our catalog. We'll get information out about it. So because that's such a popular program. Last year we had over 1,000 people who use the walking track here, which I think is just fantastic. It's such an easy way to get yourself started. So that's coming up. We'll have all of our early childhood classes have been registering this summer. Those are getting full, so if you're interested in those, you should make sure that you go online, again, www.hastingscommunityed.com, and register for those classes. We have some really exciting things coming up through adult education and youth enrichment, so the catalog is always my favorite thing, when I get a chance to look at it before it comes to you, and I sit back and I think, wow, I wouldn't even know where to begin to take a class because there's so many cool things. And my friend who's with us today, Courtney from DARTS, she's the Director of Transportation, she was just telling me that she is, what'd you say, a community ed nerd or community ed geek? So Courtney, you're on the advisory council of
Hastings Transportation Option.
I'm
sorry, you were referring to...
for community ed.
Yes,
in Southwest Minneapolis.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Long time. Yes.
Yeah. So, I think that's something that people tend to forget about community education. It's in almost every school district in the state of Minnesota.
Yes.
And so, so there are, and I would guess a lot of the things you see in the Southwest catalog are things that we offer down here at Hastings, too.
Absolutely, and I'm the same way, too. I love to have my coffee when the catalog comes and peruse it for myself, and then I let my kids look at it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Well, we're here today to talk about something that is being very highly anticipated. I know many, many people are talking about it, and it's another transportation option for the citizens of Hastings, which for the time I've been here, I know that just comes up over and over and over again, that life is great here in Hastings. We have so many things that people can participate in, and that transportation, unfortunately, tends to be a barrier for some of them. So tell me a little bit about how DARTS got interested in this and where we're going with it.
Certainly. So thank you again for this opportunity,
Mary.
Of course. And so how we got into designing a loop transportation, which is what we're going to describe today for Hastings, is that over the last 2 years, DARTS went through a transition on the types of transportation options we were putting out in the community. We were the provider for the county for Transit Link and Metro Mobility.
Okay, now tell me what each one of those were.
Certainly. So I'll start with Metro Mobility, which is your ADA door-to-door gentle arm for assistance provider. That's that shorter bus with the wheelchair lift that people see.
Okay.
That is an option Hastings does not currently have.
All right, and it does say Metro Mobility on it, right?
It absolutely does. The other one that I said was Transit Link, and that is your true dial-a-ride. It meets you curb to curb.
Okay.
And it will take you to the next form of transit to connect you with a transfer to what I call that big bus, fixed bus option. So you guys do have that in town. So we ended those contracts about 1.5 years ago, and our president said, Courtney, well, what does the future for transportation look like for DARTS? And so I came to DARTS on a grant to do research for what's called mobility management, which means what does mobility look like and needs are around the country and here in the metro. And what needed was these loops that were that sweet spot of you don't need an application to apply. It still provided that ADA type of assistance, door to door with a gentle arm for assistance, carrying your few bags on and off at a price that really is affordable for the folks that we're serving. $2, $5, all you can ride. Things like that, and stopping at a number of the stops, that's really what people are demanding, their activities of daily living. And so that's where I came to the city of Hastings about 1.5 years ago with a presentation of this idea and asked them if they'd like to join us. Earlier, I believe it was in January at City Council, they approved funding for half of it with the hope that community partners would come together and help in a variety of ways, volunteering to do it and pay for it, which led us to today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, now, I'm not a Hastings resident. You're not a Hastings resident. So we hear stories about a variety of different transportation options that have been here, that have gone away. So the Metro Mobility is one. Was that something that was previously here in Hastings, do you know?
Not to my knowledge, no, because just so I can explain better, fixed route follows with the ADA, and you guys don't have that big bus fixed route here in Hastings. You have Transit Link dial-a-ride, which is an in-between spot.
Okay, okay. All right, so I understand that, but we also had something called the track bus once upon a time.
That's right.
Okay, what was the track bus?
Sure.
And that went away, right?
So I can explain that. So that kind of connects the dots of what Transit Link is doing. So back about 10 years ago, Met Council gave communities money to do their own dial-a-ride, and that's what you guys did with the track bus. That was your in-town dial-a-ride. Then some years passed, and Met Council thought it would be more efficient if they pulled all that money in-house and they just operated Transit Link throughout the whole metro, feeling that it would. Some places were getting a lot, some were getting medium amount of service, and some nothing at all. So with Transit Link, they were hoping to just diversify and really hit everybody equally.
And that's the best explanation of that I've ever heard, Courtney. Obviously, you know what you're talking about.
Well, thanks for that.
Okay.
And so that's where you have Transit Link. And that went up for a while, and then you guys also tried up again your track bus concept. I believe it was called the Spiral Shuttle.
Okay.
Yeah, and that operated for a couple of years, I believe, in town. I think Hastings Family Services was one of the leads of trying to facilitate operation of that. Okay. And that came and went, and it really requires somebody full-time, which I call a community organizer. If I'm correct, that was somebody's additional duties to do. And so because of that, I think that just went by the wayside, not because it wasn't operated correctly or anything like that. It just takes that full person out there.
Okay, and my understanding of that was it was pretty much, I would equate it to operating like a taxi.
Okay.
You know, that you called, it picked you up, and then it took you where you wanted to go, and when you were ready to go home, you called and it came and got you and it took you home. Is that?
Yes, and I will tell you from the back end, that's very expensive to operate, and so that might have led to the reasons is keeping that back end funded for folks. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I was always surprised to hear that was how the bus operated because, no, there's no taxi service in Hastings, but that just seemed to me like a taxi. So,
sure.
Okay, all right, so those options, the only other option we have in town right now is the Transit Link.
And I think you do have another taxi that's coming up, and
Smart
that's Smart
Ride.
Ride. Yes, it's just really, like a taxi. It started out as a sober ride, and I think it's spread out to help seniors get to some different appointments around town.
Okay.
But it's not wheelchair lift equipped, which is one of the things that we're different. I think it's a tad bit more expensive on the service we'll describe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And one of the things that I've noticed is that many of our surrounding communities do have what you call the big bus.
Yes.
Okay, and that's something that Hastings doesn't have, and I know people talk about that as a disadvantage to the community, that it's difficult, you can't get across the bridge, can't get going out west to Burnsville or in that location. But I've seen that there are, from a countywide perspective, there are a number of conversations about that. Do you know anything about that at all?
Yes, so I sit on that advisory board. That's called the Dakota County East-West Transit Study.
Okay.
And so absolutely you're describing how to get east and west, west out of here, out of Hastings, absolutely. And so I sit at that table because I'm hoping that maybe another loop bus can connect you out of here and get you over to the western suburbs that you're looking at. People, I have to imagine, want to shop at a mall or get to jobs outside of Hastings and other things. Absolutely, keeping that in the conversation.
Okay, and then there's also been a conversation about a Red Rock fixed bus line.
That's right.
All right, so at one point they were talking about the train.
Yep.
And that went away. And so now it's, and do you know where that stands? Because I heard about it and then I heard it kind of dropped off the radar. Is that still under conversation?
I think it paused because the legislative session ended
and
nothing got approved for any sort of transportation funding. I think most people heard that on the news.
Right.
And I believe that will pick up again here. I know there's a legislative roundtable coming up next week in southern Washington County, led by Representative Hornstein, who is on that transportation roundtable. And so potentially what would happen is the stop would be right on 2nd Street, the depot. And so the loop that we'll describe, it would be so easy to create a stop there to transfer folks, whatever form of transit would get you out of town, to do that. So I continue to stay in those conversations
and that's so important for us to know. It's such a benefit to the Hastings community that you're involved. You're at those tables, you're in those conversations, because as you set up the loop, you know what we're putting together, and then you know what's coming down the road, so how to connect those things would be great. All right, so let's talk specifically about the loop. What's going to happen?
Sure. So we've formed an advisory board. You're one of the members, and it's a broad base from community services to senior to the chamber and a number of high rises, United Way. Just a lot of folks who bring the community together to design what would it look like, who would use it, how much would it cost, which brings us to today about we're doing a big ribbon cutting, and please tell me the name of the expo. It's 50
plus Expo,
Yes, at the Tilden Community Center at 9 a.m. on August 26th, that will unveil this bus and have information on how the service is going to kick off on Tuesday, September 6th.
Okay.
So what the service is.
So it's coming up soon.
It is.
This happened very quickly.
It did.
I remember that first meeting, I thought, oh, we're talking about a year or two, and then all of a sudden, and you were so wonderful, you were like, no, we're going to get this going by the end of August, and everybody went, whoa, that's pretty cool, so that's great.
Right, here we are, literally, what is it, we started May 18th, was our first meeting. I put a meeting invite, I think 2 weeks before that, so 3 months from right now, we had just talked about having our first meeting, and here we are. We've researched and designed our whole route, and if I can just turn and pause for a second, here's this, and I know you can't see the stops, but this is going to be at all the 15 stops. This is going to be a window cling, like any other bus schedule that if you were outside this community at a bus shelter, you would see a bus schedule, and it's going to have scheduled stops, and the service is going to operate every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a fare of $5 all you can ride, and we ask folks to have exact change, please.
Okay.
So, and you'll see these.
So it's just on Tuesdays. It's not every day of the week.
That's right. It's just a starting place, because the really cool thing to touch on why that is that we are almost fully funded for this before it even starts.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is truly funded by community partners. This is not a transit funded thing in the background. And so the funding came together to operate this 1 day a week for 1 year. It's not to say we can't have another funder who comes in and expands it, whatever, another bus, another day, or things like that. The other neat thing is that when you look at the printed bus schedule that'll be near these at the stops, these stops are just the beginning. You can look at a number of point deviation. So if you were to stop at Target, you could also request us to deviate and go to Culver's, for an example. So this is just really scratching the surface of your possibilities. And so folks can really almost hit every desired location around town, from Regina Alina Health Hospital to every possible place to get your hair cut, your dry cleaning, the library, and everything else.
Yeah.
Granted, it's 9 to 2 on Tuesdays, but it's a great starting place to grow from there.
Okay. So yeah, so the stops are Augustana Park Ridge, Oak Ridge, the Dollar Tree at Midtown Center, the Veterans Home, Mississippi Terrace, Hastings Family Service, Tilden Community Center and Senior Center, Alina Regina Senior Living Medical Center, Hastings YMCA and Courage Kenny, Walmart, Rivertown Court Apartments, Cub, Target, Pleasant Hill Library, and then the Westview Shopping Center.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would really give you an opportunity, as you say, to kind of schedule out your day and get a lot of things done in a short period of time.
That's right. And again, there is no need to schedule an appointment, so that way you don't have to cancel, you don't have to apply. So that way if you wake up sick, either way, can't go or need to get to the clinic, it's just there on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so all you have to do is be at the curb of one of those locations.
Yes.
Okay, now what if that doesn't work for me? What if I can't get to one of those locations to get on the bus? Is there an alternative to have the bus stop at my home, or do you have, it has to be on the loop?
So for right now, how we're going to kick it off, yes, you need to be at the scheduled stop. But
Okay.
you touch on a word there that's key about this service, is that initially it will be curb to curb, but if you request the driver to come to the door, they can provide that gentle arm for assistance.
Okay.
The number for our transportation dispatch office will be there on the schedule. So if you needed to have anything a little bit special, we just ask that you call a little bit ahead
Okay.
and let our dispatch office know, so the driver knows that when they pull up at Augustana maybe, we know there's a rider waiting inside the door, the driver will quick come grab 'em.
Okay, okay. So really, if you're looking for more of that door-to-door, that's more of a transit link kind of a thing than the loop would be, right?
Nope, Transit Link is true curb to curb.
Curb to curb.
But another option in town that's fantastic, that serves some medical and social service rides, is Hastings Family Services. And they can really provide that more hands-on and wait for
Okay.
you doing this. So
Okay.
I point to people to that volunteer program.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And I guess I misspoke. So if I wanted the bus to come to my house, I could go out and wait in front of my house. That would be a transit link thing, right?
Yes, that
okay,
is accurate.
so they're not going to come to my front door and help me out the door into the bus.
Correct.
So that's something that through Hastings Family Service you could arrange.
Absolutely.
Okay, but if with the loop, I need to be at one of these locations in order to ride the loop.
That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, all right. So that gives us 3 great options in town.
Yes.
You know, I mean, really, it does. It would answer a lot of different needs for people.
Great. But
So-
just thinking here as you're sitting there, so say they did have to walk a block up to grab it from maybe the Dollar Tree. But on the return ride, that's where you can ask the driver, I actually walked up on my return ride home. Could you please drop me at my house? Yes, we can do that.
Oh, that's
We just can't
great.
do it when we first grab you.
Oh, that's great.
So well, what if it starts raining? So that's
Yeah,
where that
yeah,
would work out
yeah.
fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that is terrific. Okay, and so it's $5.
All you can ride.
All you can ride. So once you get on the bus that day, how does the driver know when you want to get on later that you already paid your $5?
They will stamp your hand and wash us off that just says loop.
Okay.
Yeah, so it works out slick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So and I know from being on the committee that this is a very similar system is at work in West St. Paul.
That's correct.
And how's that working?
It's going very well. So the reason that loop was set up was because there was a major reconstruction of Robert Street. We wanted to make sure that people still got in and around to everything is located on that Robert Street. So it works really well. The riders said they don't know what they'd do without it. And we have all ages. So that touches on, this is really for all ages. This is not just a certain thing for seniors or disabled. This is for all citizens of Hastings to hop on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is terrific.
Great.
That is really, really cool. So tell me a little bit, because you're so knowledgeable about this, and when I sit at the table with you, I always think, how does she know all that? So tell me about your background and how you got involved in transportation and came to DARTS. And
Sure. So actually, a long time ago, I worked at the Minneapolis Community Development Agency, and I did what was called low-income fix-up loans or dollar home loans, where I would facilitate working with seniors and low-income people who could get a house or fix up a house very affordable in the city of Minneapolis. So that was community organizing with little different neighborhood revitalization programs. That program went out. It was discontinued at that time, so I thought, what do I want to do? I'm a big-time community organizer. I love serving that demographic that I'm still serving today. So I took a pause and became an activity director at the Rivers in Burnsville. And quickly the bus driver there figured I was way overqualified for my role, and one thing led to another. There was an opening at Senior Community Services in Hennepin County to be what's called their transportation coordinator. And back in that day, that's where we also got money, like Hastings did, to operate dial-ride buses. So actually, that's where I met Melanie Mesco-Lee, who operated a track bus. So I've known her 10 years when I got into dial-ride transportation for seniors and disabled. And the history just goes from there of directing that program and one other as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, and I know DARTS had bigger transportation contracts, and people may have questions about all the different services that DARTS provides, because I know every time I go on the website, I look at it and I go, I had no idea. So tell me a little bit more about DARTS and what kind of services it can provide to people in Hastings besides this wonderful loop bus.
Sure. So DARTS is a nonprofit that's been around for 42 years that serves seniors in a variety of capacities throughout the county. So we also do what's called chore service. We can come in and clean your home, light handyman repair. We can do home modification where you need different doorknobs or wider staircases or a grab bar in the bathroom. We can do friendly visitors. If you are caregiving, we can provide caregiver support. We also train seniors to be what's called a learning buddy in the schools and partner and mentor kids who need reading. And we can even drive you to and from so you can do that. So just a wide variety to assist seniors so they can stay independent and in their own home. And I'll quickly talk about, we're coming up on fall. We line up volunteers to come out and leaf rake your yard and pick up the sticks, snow shovel, and then once again next summer, mow your lawn. So call us for a variety of things.
Okay, and if I wanted to volunteer with DARTS, so that would be the kinds of activities I could get into?
Absolutely. So you can do short-term 1 yard cleanup or all school year learning buddy, and lots of choices in between. We even have people volunteer to take seniors to the grocery store, help put their groceries away, and that's a fantastic thing, I think.
You know, because that's one change I've seen over maybe the last 15 years or so was 15 years ago, I think there was a lot of conversation about people, baby boomers, as they were aging, that they were going to sell their homes, they were going to move into senior retirement communities, and the big switch I've seen is to age in place.
Yes.
That people are saying, and you know my husband and I have this conversation all the time about downsizing. You know, we have the house that we raised our 4 children in. Well, you know, now it's my husband, myself, and the dog. And so while the dog likes the 5 bedrooms, you know, you can come home and see he slept in every bed.
Fun.
In
it's
the house.
wonderful.
It's like he's just keeping track of, you know, what's going on out this window, then out this window, then out this window. We just don't need that size of home anymore. But we're, you know, not ready to give it up. And so I think, you know, to have a set of services like DARTS available to people, and also if, you know, you have parents who live here in the Twin Cities and you don't live close to them. Does DARTS just for Dakota County?
It is.
Okay. Okay. And are there similar services in the whole metro area, or is that just something unique that DARTS does?
There are other similar organizations, but they don't do the wide variety of items they do. So they may do some of the caregiver support and handyman, but then they're not doing the home cleaning and things like that, or vice versa. It might be home cleaning and not the handyman.
Okay. Oh, terrific, terrific. Well, DARTS is an amazing organization. You do amazing work. So let's just talk about this one more time.
Certainly.
So it's the Loop route. We're calling it the Hastings Loop, or the Loop.
Yeah. Loop for short.
Okay.
People like to abbreviate.
Okay, and on August 26th, there's a ribbon cutting.
At 9 a.m.
At 9 a.m. at Tilden Community Center. I know we were saying the bus is going to be in the parking lot.
It is. So
and the mayor is going to be there, Mayor Hicks, right?
No, it's going to be a stand-in for the mayor. So I think yes.
Dana?
Yes, thank you.
Dana Elling-Schultz is
yes,
going to
thank you for
come and
yes.
So she will cut the ribbon for us.
And say a few kind words.
Okay,
yes.
okay. And then people will be able to, on that day, meet the driver.
Yes.
because that's something that's impressed me too, is how dedicated the driver is to ensuring that this is a quality, safe experience for the people on the bus.
And that is an accurate statement. And if you want to know who she is, she's right on the front here in the middle of the schedule. When people say, well, who's the driver, which I think is really helpful to a lot of our older folks, and she will be the driver every Tuesday.
Yep.
So I think that's really key to trusting the service.
Right. So you get to meet her and get to see the bus. You get to learn a little bit more about the route.
Right. Show you where you put your $5, help you read the schedule, to make you set up to be successful.
Okay. Yeah, and then that 50 Plus Resource Expo has tons of things going on that day, different kinds of classes, and it'll be right there in Tilden. There's a
free
breakfast bar. Yeah, there you go. So that'll be a great thing. Well, I want to thank you for your dedication and your leadership on this, because like I said, when you first started talking about it, I was, I'm a little skeptical on things anyway, but I was just like, oh, that'll never happen. And then you just had such a kind way of saying, yeah, we're going to get this done by the end of August, and the table sat up and said, sure. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. All right, so we will see you again soon. Enjoy these last few days of summer, and when we come back in September, we'll be talking about what's going on in Community Ed for the fall. Take care, everybody.